Hey, what's up everyone? Airball here, and today we are continuing our tour of Pioneer. We're going to take Mono-Red into a Pioneer event, constructed event on Modo. A lot of different ways to build Mono-Red in Pioneer these days. This is a list that I found on ChannelFireball.com. It was made by AspiringSpike, and it had the benefit of a sideboard guide. But Mono-Red has a lot of different tools that are available to you. You can go the burn heavy route with like lightning strikes, skewer the critics, light up the stage, soulscar mages, and that kind of thing. Or you can go with a more creature heavy approach with like your bone crusher giants, your anaxes, your embercleaves, and that kind of thing. Or you can kind of split the difference, which is what this deck tries to do. So we have the core of light up the stage plus skewer the critics, which are our spectacle spells, and we have a ton of 1-mana ways to ping the opponent. So Kamano faces Kakazan, deals 1 damage to the opponent, trigger spectacle. Monastery Swiftspear gets in with haste. If it can connect, trigger spectacle. Play with fire, face, trigger spectacle. Wild slash, face, trigger spectacle. Eidolon as well. If you have the Eidolon in play on your turn and the opponent lets you untap and tries to remove it, they're going to take 2 damage for the privilege. That turns on Spectacle. So the Spectacle cards have a lot of outlets. Also Stomp Face, also trigger Spectacle. So that's the core of the deck. What I have found is that the deck is a little bit weak to some of the decks in the format. In particular, it's very weak to Rakdos, both the Sacrifice and mid-range, because it relies really heavily, this version, on getting damage through with creatures. So Chain Whirler, there are 4 copies of Chain Whirler in this deck, which is unusual to say the least for Mono-Red in Pioneer, because it's pretty easy to answer with a 2-mana instant speed spell. It doesn't really affect the board too much against a lot of decks the turn it comes into play. 4 copies of Chain Whirler is a lot, especially against black-based decks. So if the opponent can remove your creatures, then you're just sort of left playing a bunch of shock and little dummies that don't really get the job done. So if the opponent can deal with your creatures, your deck turns out to be kind of underpowered. In those matchups, you do have the option to bring in some heavier hitters. You have 4 copies of Chandra Dressed to Kill. She herself is excellent at enabling Spectacle. She dodges, obviously, most of the creature removal in the format, given that she's not a creature herself. And she's a threat that must be answered. So if she ever is allowed to ultimate, that's probably enough to win the game on the spot. And she effectively costs 2 mana because she makes a mana the turn she comes into play. So Chandra's great. I believe Chandra, in the best configuration of this build, probably belongs in the main deck. But we're going to go with AspiringSpike's version for the time being. We also have Hazoret. Hazoret dodges removal pretty well. Hazoret's interesting in the mirror because Indestructible is pretty great and you're hellbent a lot of the time in the mirror. Remember that against Soulscar Mage, the damage applied to Hazoret still shrinks it, so it can still die to having 0 or negative toughness. So that's an important consideration. These Eidolons are absolutely brutal to play with, is the other thing I noticed playing this deck. It's not that they're bad, it's that it's very hard to reason about having them in play in aggro mirrors, because they hurt you too. Every time anyone casts a spell with mana value 3 or less, it pings that player for 2, and everything in your deck pings you. So if you're going to bring in the Eidolons or keep them in a matchup, you better be sure that they're there for a good reason. But otherwise, the deck has kind of intricate play patterns, but for the most part, it's the Mono-Red you've come to know and love. You get a creature in play early on. You start going face, and you try to end the game by turn 5 or 6, and if it doesn't end by turn 5 or 6, you are probably dead. Anyway, I think that's pretty much all there is to say about the deck. I will say that I'm going to, as we're continuing this tour of Pioneer, I am going to be playing in the Puget Sound Showdown coming up in both the 5K Pioneer event and the Trios event, where I'll be taking the Pioneer seat. But also, this coming weekend is the DGen Open for Pioneer, and it's got a pretty good prize pool. And this is the MTG Melee page for the event. It's $5 entry on Modo. If you want to use the card hoarder link in the description below to pull up a Modo deck and come play with us, then what's in it for you? Quite a bit in the way of cash prizes. So top 8 pay, cash, and cool stuff in gift cards. And right now, there's currently 1 player enrolled, and it's me. So if you've been watching these videos and you're like, man, he sucks, well, come prove it, and you can get $200 cash, because if you're the only other person to sign up, then we're going to have an interesting final match. Anyway, that's my plea to you. Join the tournament. Use the card hoarder link in the description below. That will help me get a higher limit on Moto with my loaner accounts so I can play older formats, which I think some of you guys would like to see. Anyway, that's it for the intro. Let's jump into the matches and see how the deck does. Okay, on the play with pretty slow opening hand, but we have Stomp and removal. We have a bunch of removal and Chain Whirlers, Manlands. We'll be okay. It's not the most explosive start the deck can have, but we don't want to run out of resources. There's some chance we want to Stomp face, depending on what we see out of the opponent. Like, if they're blue-white control, then we might just send the Wild Slash at their face. Secluded Courtyard probably means humans. Indeed. So we will probably be stomping that. That seems reasonable, although it does suck to stomp the 1/1, or slash the 1/1 when we know we have Chain Whirler coming, but it won't stay 1 for long. So let's just kill it. Eidolon is reasonably good. If they play another 1/1, then we'll have Chain Whirler online next turn. And we want to get this down as early as possible to get the payoff. So we'll just get that on the board and say go. Eidolon serves to, like, shorten the game. And they win the long game with their Coco big creature plan. Yeah, we love this. So Thalia is going to die to this Chain Whirler. Thank you very much. They even take 2 for the privilege. Okay, we go to our main phase after a lengthy tank from the opponent, and we're just going to Chain Whirler it up. We'll take 2, but we're going to deal 2 to them as well. And again, we want the game to end as quickly as we can. Combat, swing, and your go. We have the opponent at 15. They will soon have Coco, although Mana Confluence will help our cause here. Mana Confluence, obviously not a land you want in your mana base against Mono-Red. They take 1 to cast Reflector Mage, okay. Nothing we can do about that, of course, but let's see what they target. The Chain Whirler, sure. Alright, so we have 3 Chain Whirlers in hand. Not exactly ideal, but I think we have some options here, right? We can Soulscar Mage hold up Bone Crusher on the Reflector Mage to shrink it. We can just play out the Bone Crusher Giant, which isn't super appealing. We can just play another Chain Whirler. Oh, actually, that is one of the things we can't do because of the Reflector Mage. So now, do we attack with the Eidolon? I don't think so. I think we just play the Soulscar Mage and go a little slow. Actually, no. We play the Soulscar Mage and then we attack. And if they block, then we can stomp. This is basically face up. I cannot imagine a world where they block. Oh, they do. Alright, sure. Sure. So this is going to shrink to an 0-1, and our Eidolon is going to win. Now it looks like the rest of the game is just going to be jamming 3-drops over and over again. They cast another Reflector Mage, okay. They take 2 for it, so what do you do now? And they bounce Soulscar Mage. Sure. A lot of good draws in the deck now. Any untapped land would be good. That one's awkward. So we can't replay the Soulscar Mage, of course. Kamano faces Kakazan is pretty mana inefficient. Yeah, I think we need to keep the 1-drops in hand in case we draw a land next turn. So the question is, are we going to play Chain Whirler or are we going to play Bone Crusher? They know we have the Chain Whirler. I think the play is going to be to attack with the Eidolon. If they block, then we Chain Whirler post-combat. And that will also mean that we don't take damage for playing our own Chain Whirler for whatever that's worth. They love blocking with Reflector Mage, sure. Okay. Coco's going to be tough to fight through if they ever get there. But it's possible they just hit, like, Mana Dorks and the Chain Whirler mops everything up. Thalia Heretic Cathar. First strike, creatures and non-basic lands your opponents control enter tapped. Sure. That doesn't do very much against us. We find Skewer, which is actually kind of excellent. We're going to get Spectacle off Kamano. So what's the play? It's probably Kamano, Soulscar Mage, Skewer. Are we going to Skewer Thalia, or are we going to Skewer Face? If they don't block with Thalia, then Skewer Face with Kamano is lethal. So I think we give him a chance to make a mistake. Yeah. I like it. I assume they block. Okay. Go to 6. And go upstairs. Opponent's at 3. They'll go to 2 next turn, guaranteed off the Chain Whirler. And then we'll have a 4/4 first striker in play. Temple Garden comes in tapped. And play a 1-mana creature. Play a 1-toughness creature. It's not quite a 1-toughness creature. It's pretty good, actually. But 2 Chain Whirlers is still enough to win. We find a land. And we're going to play the Chain Whirler. Opponent's going to go to 1, and we'll see if they can wriggle their way out of this. Even just tapping the mana confluences will end the game. So Coco's off the table. I don't think there's any sequence that gets them out of this. They need, like, I don't know, some random Charming Prince. Tithe Taker is fine. We're going to untap. And now we have 2 lethal threats to face. So I think we lead with the Chain Whirler, and if they somehow have something in response, we can Wild Slash. Yeah, sure. They hit with it. Cool. So we win game 1. Now the question is, what do we want against the Humans deck on the draw? We do have a sideboard guide for this, but there is no entry in it for humans, so we are on our own. The question, I think, is, as ever, who's the beatdown? I feel like Eidolon is pretty bad when they can pressure our own life total. Maybe that's not true. They have so many one-drop creatures, but you have to assume that after boarding, they're going to take some number of them out. I don't think I'm super interested in Chandra. I don't think there's much in the way that I'm worried about bringing in Burning Hands for. We saw some Thalias. Cheap answers to Thalia can be good, especially when we have our own spectacle spells that we want to cast efficiently. I don't want to go overboard on removal, though. Like, a lot of the stuff in our deck already hits pretty hard. I think, especially on the draw, I want to take out these Eidolons. Bring in a couple Rending Volleys. And maybe 2 Chandras. Because they could bring in, like, creature removal of their own, and Chandra will be able to fade that. Also enable Spectacle without us having to fight through creatures. In fact, maybe that means I'm more interested in Chandra's. I think 2 Chandras is plenty. I think this is fine. Let's give this a run. Give this a go. Okay, we're on the draw with a pretty good opening hand, honestly. Monoface's Kakazan is Burn Spell to enable Spectacle. It's a creature on its own. We're definitely keeping this. There's some risk of flooding out, but Light Up should find us gas. Opponent plays land and says go. We're fine with that. We're going to play our 1-drop. Opponent plays Thalia, sure. So we don't have a creature to play. Killing Thalia is doing anything, really, is going to cost 2 mana here. So are we playing Kakazan, or are we playing a removal spell on Thalia? Kakazan allows us to play the creature side of Bonecrusher Giant next turn and get the counter, but I kind of like, given that we have Light Up the stage, being able to play Kakazan Light Up next turn. So I think that means we're going to Wild Slash Thalia. Probably Rending Volley Thalia, actually, because Wild Slash hits anything. Yeah, I think so. And we're going to do it on their turn. I think we're actually going to take the hit from Thalia and kill Thalia on their end step. Okay, they're tapping out, so Fiendslayer, Paladin, First Strike, Lifelinker can't be the target of black or red spells your opponents control. That's problematic. That's really bad for us. Yeah. Okay, well, we're gonna kill Thalia. I don't know what we do about this, realistically. Do we have anything that deals with that? Not really. Oh, I shouldn't have played the land if I was going to light up. Okay, well then I think we're going to play the creature side of Bonecrusher Giant, because at least it'll get through the first strike if they decide to attack with it. but I don't love it. Kind of stops us in our tracks. Tapping out again for another one. Okay. Then I guess we're just never going to hit them with a creature for the rest of the game. In that case, we have to get there with burn. And so we'll try, but I don't like our chances. Yep. I think we're just going to end up wild slashing their face, more than likely. We can cast both sides of Bone Crusher Giant next turn, and we get the counter off Kakazan. Oh, they have Coco? Maybe? Yeah. That's bad news. Like, we literally cannot interact with these in any way, and the opponent has two. They hit a Kudro and a Mantis Rider. I think we're dead. These can all attack now if they want. Yeah. I think we drew another land. That sucks. Okay, we'll scoop this up. There's no way we're beating this. So... if they draw that, do we kind of just lose? It feels like if they draw that, we kind of just lose. That's really bad news for us. So I guess that means we want to be as aggressive as we can possibly be. Does that mean the Eidolons come back now on the play? Probably. I think I'm less interested in the Chandras now. Actually, Chandra's pretty good at enabling the spectacle here. I think the creatures themselves are what are bad. Yeah, I think the creatures themselves are what are bad. Probably just keep it the way it was, realistically. Yikes. One lander on the play. But everything in the hand is a 1-drop? Can I really send this back? A lot of good draws. I'm gonna keep it. On the play, maybe this is a mull. But this is I think it's close. It's about as aggressive as this deck is capable of. Mana Confluence, pay 1. Portable Hole Mike Mono. Okay. Land? Don't punish me? Land. Nice. Well, it takes 2, down to 16. Their mana confluence is going to hurt them every turn for the rest of the game. Probably. And we have removal spells that'll pump our prowess creatures. They shock in the Temple Guardian. For Lieutenant. That's not a fun place to be if you're the opponent. We untap and we find Light Up the Stage. Wow, okay. So what's the right sequencing here? We Rending Volley the Lieutenant, swing out Light Up. Can also Swift Spear, Rending Volley the Lieutenant, and then next turn Light Up, Wild Slash Light Up pre-combat. I actually think I like that more. Yeah, I like that more. Go to combat. Take 6. Go to 7, and one of your lands hurts you every time you tap it. Have fun. Yeah. Cool. Okay. This is like the most aggressive possible start. I think we needed it against this particular deck. We needed them to stumble early, and they did. Okay, 1-0. On to the next one. Okay, on the draw with one lander. We do have to play with fire to be able to scry on our upkeep. That's not so bad. I think on the draw we can actually keep this, which is pretty wild. I mean, there's definitely the possibility that we whiff on land here and then just don't play game 1. But if we do draw even just land number 2, I think we're in pretty great shape. Oh, mirror? Okay. Sideways Monkey. We did find the land. So the question now is, do we kill their thing or do we play a creature? And I think it's tough. We play a creature, it's like certainly dead. They can get in with Firebrand. If they have their own Light Up the Stage, then allowing them to have the creature is pretty bad news for us. We're probably just supposed to keep their board clear and then land Bonecrusher Giant. I think they're the beatdown here. Yeah, okay. We're on the draw, which means we get the extra card. Which means that if we trade everything 1 for 1, then we should, in theory, be able to, we should be able to outlast them. We should have more stuff. Okay. So we find Monastery Swift Spear. I think now, like, this is basically stomp 100% of the time, right? So I think what we can do now is we can play the Soulscar Mage and hold up Play with Fire to pump it in response to stomp. They cast their own Play with Fire, targeting Soulscar Mage. Okay, so it's not stomp anymore. Sucks that we have to pay 1, but we can save our Soulscar Mage here, so we will. We find Light Up the Stage, which I am inclined to keep on top, I think. Do I just need more land? Like, if I draw... Okay, so I draw Light Up the Stage next turn, what's my play? They play a creature, I can't get in with Soulscar Mage. I can't really do anything, actually. I think we bottom this. And there's actually no guarantee that our Soulscar Mage will even live here if they have another burn spell. Nope, Soulscar Mage survived. So that was a pretty good exchange for us. Yeah, Burning Tree Emissary is pretty good. And there's the stomp. Okay. We untap and find the land. So what to do? We certainly play it. We can stomp the Burning Tree Emissary, play Swift Spear, get in. That's not so bad. We can stomp the Emissary, do nothing. We can stomp face, skewer the Emissary. I think I like Swift Spear, stomp Emissary attack. Okay. Combat. Swing. Say go. Their most likely play this turn is probably just play the Bone Crusher. Their own Eidolon. Okay. Eidolon and chose not to play Bone Crusher, so they have Stomp, is what they're saying, probably. We drew our own Eidolon. So this is interesting. It is probably just Bone Crusher go. We can skewer their Eidolon, pump the Swift Spear, they stomp it in response. Next turn they play their Bone Crusher. Maybe that's not so bad. We could also Eidolon if they kill the Swift Spear in response. Yeah, no, that doesn't work. I think I just want my Bone Crusher in play. You have to feel with these Eidolons coming down that at some point we will get the opportunity to cast the Skewer with Spectacle. They are empty-handed, so I guess this thing does hurt us more than it hurts them. Pay 2 to play your Mono Faces Kakazan. Okay. That's a choice you can make. And now you'll play Bone Crusher, I assume. Take another 2. Yep. They take another 2. They go to 12. And this is a tricky sequence to navigate here. We find Den. We can attack with Bone Crusher. If they trade... If they trade, we can skewer their Eidolon. Take 2. If they don't, then we can skewer plus our own Eidolon, which is pretty good. If they don't trade, then they attack back with Bone Crusher, which I guess is bad news. We can skewer their Bone Crusher, take 2, swing. That's probably okay, actually. We're going to take 4 for doing this, but I think it's the way to go. Oh, did I? Oh, I hurt myself off the Ramanap runes. Not great. I should be at 15 right now, not 14. That's what I get for playing too quickly. I guess I don't always want to yield. And now we can swing for 6. Can also swing for just 2. We're going to take 4 for playing these spells next turn. Yeah, I think we do actually just swing for 2. They power up the den next turn. We take 4, 6, go to 4, but then they're dead. Yeah, okay. They can't be too aggressive or they just die. And if they draw spells, then they also die. And they just took it. Okay. These Eidolons are a brainfuck. Like, they're really hard to play in the mirror. It's like a Death Shadow mirror or something. When it goes to attacks, just does nothing, says go. We find Ramanap Ruins. So if they take the 2 from the bone, or yeah, if they eat the Swift Spear and chump the bone, and don't chump the Bone Crusher, then Ramanap Ruins will kill them. Can also play the Ramanap Ruins, fire up the den. If they drew a kill spell, they'll kill the den. And that's pretty bad for us. So I think we go for combat. They do eat the Bone Crusher, as they should. Or they do chump the Bone Crusher, as they should. Go to 5. And now we get to play one of our Eidolons for free. So any spell they cast will take them down to 3. Could even play 2 of them. Yeah, that seems great. So to do this costs us 3 life, though. Go to 7. Burn spell face. Power up den. If they power up the den, I want to have both of these in play anyway. Okay. They let this resolve before casting a burn spell, so I think they don't have one. Alright, you're good, bud. Find a way out of this. I'm sure one exists, but I can't think of it. Okay. Yeah, sure. That's a tough one. Luckily, in the sideboard guide that I've got, all the Eidolons come out. So we don't have to worry about that kind of math anymore. The Chain Whirlers come out as well. They just don't kill enough, and one of the Kakazans comes out, which is interesting. Lava Coils are in. The Chandras are in. And the Hazarets are in, which I guess makes sense. I think we probably spend a lot of this kind of matchup Hellbent, and Hazaret's, of course, great in those matchups. Chandra dodges the creature removal, enables Spectacle, so our light-ups resolve, which help us be the one who ends up with more gas. Being on the draw also helps us be the one with more gas, so I like the sideboard plan. Let's see how it goes. Okay, one lander on the draw. We do have light up the stage. We draw any lands, then this hand is pretty good, but I think we mull this. I think this is a little too greedy. I think this is okay. The light up... Well, we won't be able to turn on the light up the stage until Chandra comes down, but you have to imagine that will happen. Ramming up runes is probably good. I think we put back one of the mountains. Yeah, I think so. Mountain sideways monkey. We find Monastery Swift Spear, which I think is worse than Soulscar Mage, because if they kill Soulscar Mage, then next turn we can Swift Spear in, enable Spectacle, hit light up the stage. So we're going to start with Soulscar Mage. It also blocks the Firebrand, whereas Swift Spear doesn't do that as well. I guess it does, it has 2 toughness. But yeah, I want to be able to haste in next turn and light up if they invest their turn killing Soulscar Mage to get in with the Firebrand. Burning Tree Emissary puts a damper on those plans, of course. Possible the Soulscar Mage just gets stomped here. Yeah, it sure does. And we are getting mono-redded by our opponent. We find 2 Monastery Swift Spears, although unfortunately we can't get in with either of them. It is still probably the play. This could end up being one of those games where the opponent just had a better hand, and all of the strategy in the world won't win you the game in that case. I should get this out of the way of their mana, actually. Okay. This presumably enables their own light up the stage, or skewer the critics, probably actually is more likely. No, in that case I don't understand the pre-combat Kakazan. Unless they're not going to attack? They're not going to attack, okay. I played Kakazan instead of playing Bonecrusher Giant, which means they have Stomp. Like 100% they have Stomp. But we can Chandra it up and force the Stomp out of them, and then we have Wild Slash to kill something of our choice. So the Prowess triggers will go on the stack. They have to Stomp here. Wow, okay. Well, in that case, do we light up the stage? We played a land this turn. How likely do we think it is that Chandra's going to live? Because if Chandra lives, then we can light up next turn for free. Chandra's pretty likely to live if we just Wild Slash the Burning Tree, right? And just get in. They can Stomp. You'd think if they had Stomp, they would have stomped one of the Swift Spears before the Prowess trigger, right? Yeah, screw it. Let's just Wild Slash. Yeah, let's Wild Slash the Burning Tree Emissary and get in. If nothing else, we can light up for full mana next turn. I guess they want the bone. It's possible that they just wanted the Bone Crusher to be a 5/4 instead of a 4/3, but that seems wrong. But now we're going to get in for a hefty chunk. I'm going to attack with both. Okay, go to 13. Your go. Nothing. That's wild. I don't know what these... I don't understand this play, in that case. Like, you just slam Bone Crusher there, I'm sure of it. Like, that's gotta be right. Sure. There's the Bone Crusher, but probably a little too late. I doubt they can kill Chandra here. They can do one. They would need Strangle or something. Which is possible. If they do have Strangle, we are in deep trouble. They don't, and we draw Lava Coil. That's pretty great, but we're going to use Chandra to enable Spectacle here and get our nice, cheap light up the stage going. And then we might Lava Coil the Bony G. Lets us put a ton of pressure on them. We find Wild Slash and our own Bony G. And Wild Slash right now does not do 4, unfortunately. And Stomp doesn't kill anything either, which does suck. But we're probably just Lava Coiling the Bone Crusher and swinging for 6. And if they don't block... This is actually a tough turn. Could also Stomp face, Wild Slash face. Does Wild Slash go face? It does. I think that's the play, right? Just swing out everything face, and whatever if they block with anything, it just dies in the trade. Yeah. Feels like they do have to block here, right? But these are both going to be 4/5s? This is disgusting. Okay, well, we'll go upstairs. Okay, they go to 10. If we stomp, they go to 8, 4. They presumably want to attack down Chandra next turn. They'll be able to do that with this. We can also just, like, let this happen and Lava Coil the Bony G, which I think is also pretty good. And Chandra's likely to live in that case. We'll still be able to play the Bone Crusher next turn. I don't know, tough. I think I like Lava Coiling the Bone Crusher Giant. Just keep them off the board. They're going to have a harder time killing Chandra this way. anything that does kill Chandra probably involves swinging out at her, and we get 2, 4, 6 damage to them. 2 from the stomp and 2 from each creature. And if they can't kill Chandra, they're probably just dead. I guess like Hazaret would be bad. Even that. Hazaret Chandra would definitely die. They have 2 creatures back. Sure. Okay. Chandra goes to 3. She'll die if they attack out, but I think they're just dead if that happens. Most likely. And if they don't, they're also probably dead, so... yeah. And we find Play with Fire, which I think is probably just good enough to win, right? Add 1 mana. Go upstairs. We make sure to stomp the Kamano. So they can't Firebrand in response to Fizzle the Stomp. Okay. And we can play with fire the Firebrand and get in for 6. Yep. That's how that works. You are dead on board, opponent. Mono-Red Mirror is tough, I've got to say. Like, there's a lot of strategic decisions there. Like, you look over on the right, look at the amount of time left on the clock. I spent, like, 15 minutes of time thinking in this match, and the opponent spent 10. So, definitely more of a chess match than you might initially think. Cool. 2-0, on to the next one. Okay. On the draw with a no-lander. That one we'll send back. This one's tougher, but because it's a 6, I think it's a keep. We have Light Up, we have Play with Fire. I think the putback is probably Skewer the Critics, just because with 1 mana it's going to be pretty tough to enable Spectacle. Yeah. Okay, looks like another mirror match. We found the land. That's great. We can just do play, mount, and go. Unfortunately, anything that comes into play here is probably going to dodge our removal. Sure does. So given that, we are probably supposed to play with fire. Although, next turn we can play with fire plus Wild Slash, and it's a 2-for-1 against us, which does suck, but at least it might be okay. And then at some point in the future, we can maybe Bone Crusher get in, cast Light Up. I think that's kind of where it's at, unfortunately. Alright. We just have to keep them off the board as best we can, I think, on the draw. Yeah, and I think we do this before they can untap and maybe cast 2 spells to get the Soulscar Mage out of range of our 2 burn spells. Yeah, alright, now we can say go. We were on the draw, but we mulliganed, and now we've 2-for-1'd ourselves. But 3 of the remaining 4 cards in our hands are also 2-for-1s. So it's not quite as bad as it looks. We find Play with Fire, which lets us hold up Stomp if we so choose. It looks like they have a Stomp of their own, of course. Not much other reason to hold up 2 mana here. Could be like a Lightning Strike, I guess. Some decks are playing that. This one's playing Spikefield Hazard, so that's something to keep in mind. Could also just play Bonecrusher Giant. Make their stomp look silly. I don't think I'm as big a fan of that. I think I want to win this resource battle, which means I want my stomps to resolve. So probably we're just allowed to say go here. They go to combat immediately. They don't stomp our face, which is interesting. We think they have stomp. They might, if we stomp this guy, they might stomp their own creature in response to deny us the Bonecrusher Giant. So let's play with fire instead. And I assume they probably play Bonecrusher Giant here. Chain Whirler, sure. Yeah, Chain Whirler pushes through our Bonecrushers pretty effectively. Not gonna lie. We don't have a great immediate answer to that. I think we're stomping face. I guess our answer is that our Bonecrusher wins the race against the Chain Whirler. We can stomp light up if we want. But I don't think I like that. I just want to get the Bonecrusher in play, so if they start attacking, we can attack back. And if they play a creature, we can stomp that thing instead, and probably get in with the Bonecrusher. Looks like they're going to attack. You have to hope it's not light up the stage. We can't realistically block here. No, nothing. Interesting. We find Soulscar Mage. We're gonna go to combat. Lightning Strike the Bonecrusher. Sure. In that case, I think I'm inclined to stomp face and light up. And play the Soulscar Mage, probably get some prowess triggers. What happens if we just play another Bonecrusher and a Soulscar Mage? It's not super inspiring, right? I think I like this. There's also some chance we reveal Skewer the Critics off this light up, which would let us kill the Chain Whirler. We find Mountain Eidolon, which I guess we will play. Okay. I think we're in trouble, folks. Yeah. Yeah, we're just gonna play that, I think. We're just gonna play everything. We are now empty-handed, of course. Lightning Strike on the Bonecrusher Giant probably spells good game, I would think. Attack out for 7. Is there a world where we win this game by attacking back with the Soulscar Mage? Not really, right? We go to 3. I think we have to block here, as much as that sucks. Because because just targeting the Pressure Giant to stay alive for a turn would cost us 2 more life, and we just can't afford that. Not ideal. Mountain Wild Slash is not going to cut it, unfortunately. But we will send it at their face out of spite, and then we'll scoop it up. Gotta complete my quests, you know? Okay, so same sideboard plan as in the last match. Although they are less creature-based, I still want the lava coils. I want all 4 Chandras. And I want the Hazarets, absolutely. And the Eidolons are very difficult to play with and also just bad against the deck that has more reach than us. If they can go face more, they'll be able to take advantage of this better because they know when they'll get guaranteed damage and when they can go for it and when they can't. So, yeah, our Chain Whirlers can go. Obviously, the opponent's Chain Whirlers look pretty good there, but this is a pretty low to the ground matchup. It doesn't kill anything. It's really just a 3/3. If we find Skewer, then we answer it pretty effectively. And one of these goes too. Cool. On the play with a pretty good opening hand, I've got to say. We'll keep this. Lead with Den Soulscar Mage. Say go. Opponent leads with Den Wild Slash. Sure, sure. Okay, how about a Soulscar Mage? Do we want to play Soulscar Mage or do we want to hold up Stomp? If we hold up Stomp, it's like the most obvious Stomp in the world and they'll never play into it in a million years. So I think I actually like just playing Soulscar Mage here. And holding up a 1-mana burn spell. Play with Fire is basically just Stomp by another name. Wild Slash targeting Soulscar Mage. I think I'm fine play with Firing the face in response to make them use another card, and we get our Scry. We find Hazaret. Do we want Hazaret on top? Hazaret will be very difficult for them to deal with, I think. We may never draw the land for it, but we have stuff to do in the meantime. Yeah, I think I'll keep Hazaret on top. It's one of our sideboard cards after all. Sure. So they had to spend a land from their hand, 2 cards to deal with our Soulscar Mage. We're pretty thrilled with that, I think. Oh look, it's Hazaret. I think we just get the Bone Crusher in play. I don't think we're interested in stomping anything here. We have Wild Slash to kill anything we could stomp, and I want to get the my hand empty for Hazaret. Lava Coil on the Bone Crusher Giant, sure. Do we find untapped land? Not quite. Although getting the Mono counter on the Hazaret next turn would be pretty sweet if we found it. If we found the untapped land, that is. Okay. Do we just go upstairs? If we find the land, we'll be able to play land Hazaret and he will be able to attack, so I think the answer is no. Especially because if we draw light up, we'll definitely want something that can trigger Spectacle. Yeah. That's the stuff. Upstairs. Not great, but we did find the land that we're going to need for Hazaret, so I guess there's that. One of these is going to flip, we might as well Wild Slash that. They play Soulscar Mage, sure. That's a 3/4. Oh, one of these didn't flip. Oh yeah, but they played both of these that turn, last turn. Okay, well we know our next turn's going to be Hazoret, so we might as well go upstairs with this. I mean, that's pretty good. But I think it's got to be Hazoret. Combat. Soulscar Mage does allow them to put -1/-1 counters on Hazoret with burn spells, so that will work. But it's not as good as it seems. Yeah, Chain Whirler does it too. Shrinks everything. We find Skewer. So we can Chandra plus Skewer the Chain Whirler swing with Hazoret. Yeah. Okay, combat. Swing. They throw a Kamano under the bus, sure. And your go. I don't think they can 14 me this turn. They, of course, can kill Chandra if they swing out. That's fine. Hazoret is a tiny boy now. So Soulscar Mage will kill Chandra single-handedly now. Yeah, I think we're in very bad shape. However, we can just pitch cards in our hand to throw 2 damage at the opponent's face every turn, which is probably at this point better than attacking with them. How do we feel about playing Mountain and Animating Den? They just eat it with the Chain Whirler. Maybe that's not so bad. Mountain activate Den. Den attacks. Chain Whirler eats Den. We get a 1/1, and the Etching of Kamano, it gets eaten by Hazoret. They have a Chain Whirler and a Soulscar Mage next turn. We have a Hazoret. And they are at 4. That's probably not better than just throwing the Mountain at their face. Yeah. Okay. So we're at 13. They're threatening to do 3, 5, 8. A lot next turn. But I think we have to attack. Do we have to attack? Yeah, I think so. They have to block, so we get to eat one of their creatures here. So it doesn't, it's not as bad as it looks. And we can do this on their turn, right? Yeah. Just give them something to think about. That's bad. So Chandra will kill Hazoret with her minus with Soulscar Mage in play. Yep. How aggressive do they get? They're at 3. Skewer the Critics off the top is lethal. Mountain. We're probably just supposed to play Mountain and animate Den. They eat it. They go to 2. They swing back for 3, 6. Now we're dead in that case. To Chandra plus for mana activating their Den. So we're just dead. We can activate our own Den, block, hope to survive another turn, and find Skewer the Critics. That's probably the best we can do. We're literally dead to a Stiff Breeze here. I think any land is lethal, and probably any spell is lethal. Oh yeah, we're dead to just Chandra. The Chandra's uptick too. Yeah, okay. We were dead 6 different ways. Okay, we'll scoop that up. That sucks. Obviously, mirror match you're not gonna have. You're never gonna have 100% success in the mirror match. And I do think that the mirror match, the deck that's running more burn probably beats the deck that's running creatures, just because we can't remove their problematic permanents as easily as they can, and when the board stalls, they can go face and we can't. So I think their build was favored against ours, but obviously close. Cool. On to the next one. Okay. On the play is where we like to be. We have 2-drop, we have removal, and we have lands. That's good enough for me. We'll keep this. Opponent reveals Giganta. If this is like Rakdos Sacrifice or Jund Food or something like that, then that can be very, very difficult for us to deal with. But we'll see. Yep. Oven is a tough one. Are we supposed to hold the Wild Slash for a removal spell on the cat? It doesn't achieve anything anymore because now they have the Oven in play. I think we're supposed to just try to beat down as hard as we can. Wild Slash does enable Spectacle for Skewer later, I suppose, but whatever. We'll do this. More land, sure. Unfortunately, Eidolon only triggers on the cast, unfortunately, so when they cycle the cat, it's not going to ping them for 2 every time. Although, how I wish it would. Fatal Push, take 2. Shock in the Blood Crypt, no fear, Unlucky Witness. Okay. I think we are in trouble. I think this matchup is terrible. That's not a bad draw, though. It does compel them to sacrifice the Witness. Honestly, they were probably going to do that anyway. But we're trying. It means that they can't sacrifice it to Ob, although if they have Ob, then we're probably pretty happy for them to cast it in this matchup. Sacking the food to Deadly Dispute, sure. That also enables Fatal Push if they have it. Instead it's Cat, because it's always Cat. Skewering the cat and attacking doesn't really achieve much. We probably want to start attacking with the Den next turn, so that means that we might at one point enable Spectacle on Skewer. I hate this very, very much. Okay. And we can't attack, they'll just cycle the cat, so... Just took a quick glance over at the sideboard guide for this matchup, and and it says that there are no changes. There's nothing in the sideboard to bring in, which I am suspicious of. Shocking and Blood Crypts left and right. Another Blood Tithe Harvester. Yeah, I mean, okay. They have a food in place, so the cat's still coming back. I mean, so that represents 5 damage. You can also just play Bone Crusher and, like, play both sides of Bone Crusher. But it's just gotta be Stomp Face and Skewer, right? We don't care about our life total. I mean, there is a world, I guess, where it is just Slam Bone Crusher. If we draw untapped land, we can crack the Reminap Ruins, enable Spectacle, and Skewer that way. Yeah, maybe this is better. But we'll never get in for more damage. This is tough. We have 2 copies of Reminap Ruins. They're at effective 4, bringing the cat back. No, they can bring the cat back twice, so they're at effective 5. This is awful. We can Skewer the Blood Tithe Harvester. Swing in. Both of our things get blocked anyway. They have to throw away a Blood Tithe Harvester of their own to do it. This is awful. Alright, I think playing the Bone Crusher and trying to enable a Skewer off of a Reminap Ruins is actually the way to go. And do we attack? They trade here, jump here with the cat. Doesn't achieve anything. I think it's better to just have the Eidolon on the field. Cramp their style a little bit. Also, the food can be eaten for 3 life at any point. That's why this matchup just feels so terrible. There's no way to get in with creatures, and our deck relies on creatures to, like, for its damage. We don't have the burn spells or the reach, really, to get in here. Okay, sure. Them killing the Eidolon is pretty scary instead of the Chain Whirler. I guess they can kill both. 8. They play the Sakenzan instead of using it to make blockers. There's Ob. Okay. So they have 2 Obs. One's going to make a Devil. And they're going to gain 2 life here, go up to 10. We're going to lose 2 life. Untap land is probably the best draw. Soulscar Mage. And the cat's going to come back again to block the fucking Bone Crusher Giant. So it's like just Den. The Den, they block with the Devil. If they want to bring the cat back, they have to sack it so they can't kill the land. Yeah, this really blows. And of course, if they have a Fatal Push or something, then that's just the end of the game. So where do these things attack? Which one's the token? This one's the token. Yeah, it's got to be this one, right? We'll see what they do. We did get to attack, so it seems like they don't have Fatal Push. They're just gonna chump Bone Crusher and bring the cat back. Sure. Their Ob's gonna live and Deadly Dispute or eat the food. Deadly Dispute. Yeah, yeah. We have less health than they do at this point. Yeah, I don't think there's a sequence that gets us out of this. Yeah, I'm just going to scoop this up. There's no way we ever win this. I'm sorry if you think there's still a chance and you want me to keep playing, but there just isn't. They threw away their Ob. Okay, now I have to see. They have another, I assume. We'll scoop that. Again, this matchup is abysmal. So, the sideboard guide says don't change a thing. That seems kind of insane. But I guess it makes sense, because our single target removal spell, you know, they just laugh at it with Witch's Oven in play. The only question is, like, is Chandra any good? Is Chandra better than, like, I don't know, like Wild Slash, maybe? I'm gonna trust the sideboard guide. We'll just run it back. On the play, 2 lands, 2 skewers. I mean, yeah, this is a pretty good aggressive opening hand. But, you know, we can't ever beat their good draw. So we'll see. We're going to need to get lucky. Unlucky Witness is a good one. I would love to just have Unlucky Witness die on their turn, but the problem is it's so likely they have Deadly Dispute, and the Bone Crusher Stomp is going to be so hard to get to resolve. I think we just Stomp while we can, and we know that the Stomp will resolve, so we get the Bone Crusher in play. We're also one step closer to getting the 3. Let's see, what did they reveal? Show me. Exile Zone. Mayhem Devil and Village Rites. Jesus Christ. Okay. Shocks in the Blood Crypt. Yeah. Sure. They have another... Yeah, they have the Village Rites, of course, so they can afford to do this. So they'll Village Rites away the Soulscar Mage, and we will untap with an empty board. We find a Soulscar Mage. We don't have the mana to cast the Bone Crusher. It's possible I should have played with fire on my upkeep. But I don't think so. I think we're just in the uncomfortable position of saying go here. Fatal Push. Yep, that works. At least it's not another claim the firstborn. Blood Tithe Harvester. Okay. So do we kill that, or do we play with fire the face and try to cast Bone Crusher Giant? we probably just kill it. Like if they're ever in a spot where they have if they ever untap with a creature in play, then I think that's just too bad for us. So we just hope to draw the untap land naturally here and play Bone Crusher, I think. We try another Soulscar Mage. Alright. Yeah. Yeah. Alright, well, if it was right last turn, it's probably right this turn. Anvil? Anvil will be bad news. A Braid. Okay. Oven. So I think we're going to cast Play with Fire on my upkeep. Are we? We can Play with Fire, try to find land, but I really want to enable Spectacle. Yeah. Upstairs. If I light up the stage, that's gas. We'll definitely keep that. Cast light up. Find Eidolon and Den of the Bugbear. Okay. Den comes in tapped, and we are very sad. Would have loved to be able to get some momentum and cast Skewer there. Instead, opponent just casts another creature that's gonna get in our way. The only good thing to say is that they haven't found the cat yet, but with all the cards they've been drawing, it's just a matter of time. With 2 ovens, the cat will be unbeatable when they find it. I'm gonna remove my stop, I guess. Ramming up runes. Yeah. The problem with the Eidolon is that it's just so low impact and doesn't achieve anything. It probably just has to be Bone Crusher here. And we have to just let that Eidolon go. If this game goes any longer, then we don't stand a chance. So we need to kind of cheese them out with damage, and that means getting a creature in play that actually has some weight behind it. This looks like Ob. If they had Ob, then we could have skewered, but oh man, Fable. I'm so sick of Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Like, just every deck seems to be running it in every format that I play. I have kind of had it. Is this where they Ob? Man, that's a good one. We find Goblin Chain Whirler. Well, that enables Spectacle at least. And let's skewer the devil, I guess. They did damage to my face. If we attack and they trade with the Blood Tithe Harvester, they're happy to do it. I think we have to attack. Holding back is just suicide. Oh, that's absolutely terrifying. Choosing not to block with the Harvester here. Well, they do loot away their entire hand, so these 2 cards off the top are completely fresh. And it is an excellent card. They find Claim the Firstborn off the top. And I think we are as good as dead. Them attacking out is interesting too. I guess they don't feel like they're in any danger because now they found the cat. These were fresh cards off the top from the Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Not a bad run out for the opponent, but of course the matchup is effectively unlosable for them. So yeah, all right, we'll scoop it up. So rough one, losing the Mono-Red Mirror is going to happen about half the time probably against good opponents. And losing the Rakdos matchup is probably going to happen about 80% of the time against a good opponent, so that sucks. But okay, on to the next one. Okay, on the play with an unexciting but reasonable curve, some danger of flooding out, but at least Remnant Up Runes push through some damage at the end of the day. We'll keep. Opponent with the Teferi Avatar, we might have found Blue-White Control, which is an interesting matchup and one that I hope we get to play. They mulligan, which I am not above at this point, given the way that the last couple matches have gone. I'm okay if the opponents get a little screwed. Mountain Go. Concealed Courtyard. Usher of the Fallen. Okay, so I don't know what this is. It's not humans. It is dead, of course, but it's not humans. Then it's Bugbear. If it was going to be a land, that's probably the one to draw. We'll hold up Stomp in the most obvious possible fashion. If they play a 1-toughness creature, then we can Chain Whirler it, but they're unlikely to do that into a Stomp. Unless they have 2 1-toughness creatures and they think they can play around Stomp by playing 2 creatures, in which case they get absolutely blown out. Alright, so they just play into the Stomp. I guess thinking that it'll protect their Mutavault if they do it. Because it's one less Stomp that we can point at the Mutavault. We find Play with Fire. I still think the Chain Whirler will have some value later, so we're just gonna cast the Bone Crusher here. Play with Fire, of course, also answers the Mutavault nicely. So this is like Orzhov stuff. I don't know what these are. It's like some Orzhov Aggro. Irration Foremost. 2/2 double strike. When it ETBs or attacks, another target warrior gets double strike. Sure. That's not bad. We're just gonna kill this and get in. And this is going to make our Goblin Chain Whirler nice and big next turn. And I think I want to hide that I have the Remnant Up Runes. It's a little risky in case they have like a discard, like a Go Blank or something. I'd rather have the Remnant Up Runes in play. But if they're playing Go Blank against my Mono Red, then I think that's fine. I would think Orzhov would ordinarily be a tough matchup for us, but it's possible that this Orzhov mono 2 or less toughness creature deck is a good one. We'll see. Another Mutavault, yep. And Brutal Horde Chief. When a creature you control attacks, defending player, drain for 1, okay. And for 5, creatures your opponents control block this turn if able, and you choose how they block. I'm a mono-red player, at least today. So I don't care. Do I want the extra counter on the Swift Spear or on the Chain Whirler? I'm pretty sure I just want it on the first striker. Am I attacking with the Bone Crusher? Yes, I think so. And I'll play the Chain Whirler post-combat. Like, doing it this way means that they might think they can attack in next turn, but I have a chain. They don't know that I'll have a Chain Whirler that can easily block them. Godless Shrine tapped. Opponent is at 10, but, you know, most of our burn has been sent at their creatures. When it attacks, everything gets menace. Sure. If you want to be attacking me, that's great. Can't block. Sure, that's fine. If it can't block, then I don't really care. We draw Den of the Bugbear off the top. Not the best draw in the world. What happens if we swing out here? Block. Block. Probably just can't attack with the Swift Spear. What happens if we power up the Den and swing? Then they probably block with this. They can't block with this. Okay, so what happens here? Block, block, Den gets in for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think I like it. I'll attack with everything. Nothing here has lifelink. And if they eat one thing, then that means they can't get in with another. If they block the Den, we have another one in hand that they don't know about. I doubt they're running board wipes in their, 2 and 3 drop black-white deck. But maybe. You never know. Yeah, their deck, every single thing here triggers on attack. They have Raid here. This gives Menace when it attacks. This drains when it attacks. They really, really want to be able to attack during their combat step, but against Mono-Red, you just don't have that luxury. Yeah. Okay. I guarantee you there is nothing in the sideboard guide for this. I promise. But if they do have that 3-drop that we ran into in match number 1 against humans, then that could be a problem for us. Rending Volley just seems pretty good. I don't know. Everything seems good, but not great. I don't think I like the Chandra's. I think she'll be tougher to defend. They could board into, like, just black-white control or something, in which case we will have wished we brought in the Chandra's, though. The Eidolons don't stack up well with their creatures at all. I don't know what to do here. Like, I don't know. That went so well that I kind of just want to run it back. I guess we are a little soft, too. To, like, 4 toughness creatures if they have any, but who cares? I guess the Swift Spears might have a hard time getting in, especially on the draw, so maybe we take out a couple of those, bring in a couple Chandra's. Maybe I bring out all the Swift Spears. Bring in 2 Chandra's, 2 Hazarets. Sure, why not? Oh boy. That's a hand of magic cards. We're going to keep. Dens are probably hard for them to deal with, and we do have a pretty good 1-2 turn 3 curve. Secluded Courtyard. Warrior. So it was Warrior Tribal. Okay. Sure. I did not notice that, but I guess it makes sense. We're pretty happy to just get a 3/3 Eidolon down next turn. Sure. I mean, 3 pair. 1, 2, 3 pair, and 3 of a kind. Interesting opening hand. Next turn is probably Kamano light up, so this turn will just be Eidolon. We won't be able to block with it, because they will have Menace. But that's fine. Actually, Kamano light up with our own Eidolon in play kind of sucks. Maybe we are supposed to board out the Eidolons. On the draw, yeah, I think on the draw we are supposed to board out the Eidolons. In retrospect, this was probably a bad call, keeping them in. For this exact reason. Mutavault animates, okay. So we can't block. Opponent's going to take 2 off of this, which I guess is fine. It's our turn. Yeah, this will resolve. We might have to play a little defense here. Every spell we play is going to ding us for 2. Yeah. Okay. I really want to trade off this Eidolon if I can, but unfortunately because it has the counter on it, it's going to be really tough to do that. Alright. Well, no fear. Hazoret, or Chain Whirler will be good next turn. So we'll say go. And hope we can throw this Eidolon under the bus. It takes so much damage. Yeah, this Eidolon is terrible. Yeah, we get drained for 4 here. Oh, for 3, I'm sorry. I guess we're double blocking like this. We go to 1. Brutal. And yeah, just casting the Chain Whirler is going to kill us. Brutal. Okay. Well, we learned our lesson. Chain Whirlers still seem great. These are coming out, I think, even on the play. And to be replaced probably by the Swift Spears that we took out. Yeah, I think this is much better. Okay, get to be on the play. Unfortunately, with a 1-lander. If we ever draw the second land, then we're actually still kind of in trouble. This hand is so aggressive, though, and it has removal, and their deck is so mopey. Ugh. I'm gonna keep it. We just need 1 land, I think, and we're okay. Maybe, like, in a matchup where I'm this favored, I'm not supposed to take this chance, but... We did draw the land, though, so we're very, very good at Magic. And... we know Chain Whirler's going to come down on a future turn. I would love to... I would love to be able to kill this with that and have Wild Slash available for something else. Well, I'm pretty sure we're casting Soulscar Mage here to get the Kamano counter. guess in that case, we don't need to make a decision about this until their turn. Yeah. We'll see if they play anything worth dealing with. Depending on what they do. If they play a 2 toughness creature, we will certainly slash it. If they play another 1 toughness creature, I think I don't slash it, because then because if I draw the land, then Chain Whirler is great, and if I don't, then I can wild slash it and get the prowess trigger on my turn with the Swift Spear in play. So I think under no circumstances am I slashing something here, but we'll see. The opponent might surprise me. I guess if they play like a 3 toughness creature, it might be worth slashing to shrink it. But even then, it's better to slash their face and cast Skewer next turn. Gutterball. Gutterball is a pretty good Chain Whirler target. So is another Gutterball. We're going to give ourselves the opportunity to land Chain Whirler on them. They didn't even attack. I guess there's no reason to. Yeah. Land? Not bad. So, what to do? I mean, these one drops aren't going anywhere. This can't block. Is it Swift Spear, swing with everything, skewer their face? Probably. None of these can block all that well. Well, the gutter balls can block, but yeah, I guess I wasted these prowess triggers too. Yeah, I did. That was a mistake. Getting sloppy. This is game 5 of the league, or match 5 of the league, so definitely a little slow at this point. Play more 1 toughness creatures, please. Thank you. That's a lot of damage. Shit. I went straight into combat. I can Wild Slash and Play with Fire here and get in for 3, 7, 9. And they'll be able to crack back for 6. And then we'll hopefully be able to stomp their face and get the rest of the way. I think I'm going to attack. And we'll Play with Fire the Chief. Wild Slash the Usher. And hopefully that's going to be good enough. When it goes to 2 and we can just stomp their face for lethal. If they can't do 11 to us here. I think that would be very hard. It's possible they find a way to drain us, but even in the event that they do, we can stomp their face and get the prowess triggers as well. That can't block, it doesn't matter. Spawn of Mayhem? I'm just gonna stomp your face. And hopefully you just roll over and die. Cool. Okay, so not the most impressive run, honestly. We did a pretty good job against humans, which I think is not a great matchup. We did a good job in that last match against Black-White Warrior Tribal, and we won a Mono-Red Mirror. We also lost a Mono-Red Mirror. I think there are a lot of different ways to configure Mono-Red in Pioneer. You can go burn heavy, you can go creature heavy, and I think we ran into one Mono-Red matchup where we had the good version of that configuration, and we ran into a version where we had the bad side of the matchup. And then we ran into Rakdos, and Rakdos is just GG with the creature configuration. So if you go heavy on the creatures, then you can expect to have a bad time with Rakdos. So if Rakdos is dominating your meta and you still want to play Mono-Red, then probably the burn spell with Chandra plan is the way to go. But yeah, in the end, we made our money back. We're net positive. I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. And let me know what you thought about the video, as always, in the comments below. And I will see you in the next one.